Maya, thank you very much for your time today. And we met to present the case study, how SOFTIQ helped SpaceNet. And the area of discussion will be LLM infrastructure, and this is what we've done for SpaceNet. So Maya, as an owner of SpaceNet, could you say a few words about SpaceNet, few words about a company, and maybe we start answering the question how the cooperation has started in this area and why you decided having SOFTIQ, and especially Adam, our top-notch tech talent, AI guru, to help you with this project.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Anita, for this introduction. Just short about me, I'm Maja von Bomhard. I'm from the SpaceNet company located in Munich in Germany. This is in the south of Germany. And we are an IT service provider. We are providing hosting, security, cloud service to our customers, mainly in the southern western area of Germany. And we met SOFTIQ, I think it's now close to 10 years ago. We had the first contact, and the first contact was very nice. So we started with some smaller projects pretty fast. And the collaboration was great. Not only the results were great, also the working together was really fine. We are sharing a lot of values, transparency, the approach, the commitment to get things done. And this was a really nice experience. And this was the starting point to do really bigger work together.
Okay, so was there a German market need that you decided to come up with this LLM infrastructure idea? What was actually the drive for starting this project?
I think the starting point is something that I think everybody of us experienced, because everybody was talking about AI and the stuff around, and I could read a lot of things around. Then I heard about Adam and Adam's work with SOFTIQ, and I take a closer look at it, and then I thought, okay, first of all, I personally want to understand what he's doing, so I go on and read more and more. And there are two things I saw. First of all, there's a lot of practical experience I saw with Adam. He really has live applications, use cases, not just in theory. It's just running live with real customers. This is something really not many people have. And the other thing is that we thought about what is the AI approach our customers are having. Because if you take a look at the customers we have here at SpaceNet in the data center, they are mainly searching for data sovereignty. So they don't want to rely on hyperscalers. They are using the services there if necessary. But as soon as it comes to their treasure of data, there are many German small and middle-sized companies who really have a lot of data, and they are very proud of the data because they are specialized data, and they want to work on that, and they don't want to give it to the public. So what they decide, either they build up an AI infrastructure on their own, or they put it on a local data center, as we have here at SpaceNet. And this was the starting point, is to give a solution to our customers, how they can start working with AI without investing in an AI cluster and a lot of know-how, and also without relying on hyperscalers providing services. They can do it for testing, for first experience. Mainly it's easier. But as soon as they go deeper, they are searching for a local solution. And that's the other way, the need we have out of the market we want to fulfill with this new architecture.
Okay. So Ada, maybe from your point of view, because that's what Maya said. She wanted she was impressed by the real case studies and the real project that you delivered for the client. So from your perspective, how do you start the cooperation with the clients when they say, "Hey, there is a need," and what is next?
I would say that's a very complex question because it really depends on the client. But what I often see is people just they read about AI somewhere on the internet. They started using ChatGPT most likely in their private life. So I don't know, to help with traveling, to help with just the personal life. And they kind of want to transfer that knowledge, that experience that they have to their business domains. But they have no idea how to do that because usually what happens is you have companies, enterprises working with very old, let's say even ancient systems, some ancient ERPs, ancient CRMs, and it's very hard for them to just work in their current environment. And now they want to also use AI and somehow make it so that the AI will bring value to them. So I think maybe what is the problem usually for these companies is that they have no idea how to start, but they also have no idea where the AI can bring them value. I think that's a very rare case where a company already knows from the get-go where the value is going to be from just deploying AI. So I would say a very important first step that we do very often is to just show the client what can be done. Just like Maja just mentioned, the real live applications we have working. When a client sees one of the applications, they usually very fast like transfer that technical feature that we have implemented in the app to maybe their problem, their business domain. And then they start talking about what kind of problems they have. And they're usually related to data structuring, document analysis. They're very common cases, which I see personally with clients. And once they get talking about that, ideas start popping up, both in my head, in their head, and then we can do a proof of concept. We can start with a small thing that then is transferred to a larger application.
With Maya, I think it is easier to talk because Maya is technical, yeah, and that does it make difference generally when the client because you have always many ideas and you have Maya many already solutions in your head how the certain problems might be solved. So how was it in this case? Like, for you, Adam, is it like, was it easier to start the project when having a technical person nearby?
I think it was definitely easier, but also the project here with SpaceNet was different. It was different than our usual projects because here we wanted to deliver an infrastructure solution, not just a business application that we usually deliver. So that was, I would say, very different. I would say that I had some knowledge about how to do that, but I also didn't have I didn't do it before. So I had some knowledge, but this was definitely my first time of creating such an infrastructure. And Maya already knew what she wanted to achieve. And I think like looking back, it was a very ambitious goal. I'm glad we actually managed to do it. Because having a sovereign Gen AI inference infrastructure hosted in Munich, I think it's a very unique project. I'm also glad I got to do it. But yeah, Maya definitely knew what she wanted already, and we didn't have to brainstorm the business solutions to the problem. I only had to pick out the right technical solutions to implement the infrastructure that Maya wanted for SpaceNet.
Okay, so when you talk about a technical thing, so what were technically the most difficult to deploy?
The most difficult to deploy. I would say definitely like choosing the right technological stack for such a project is of the most critical importance here, because there are many solutions right now on the internet available for deploying Gen AI inference infrastructure, and some are marginally worse than the others. For example, a very popular solution that's on the internet and it's very popular in communities which center around deploying local Gen AI infrastructure is called Ollama. And it's not the best right now for deploying such projects. So I would say the research that I had to do first was of critical importance here in this project. And I chose vLLM, and this is, in my opinion, currently one of the best, if not the best, solution for an inference backend, which is what we're currently using in the project. And this was, I think, the most difficult part, just choosing the right stack, but also then configuring the right stack for the infrastructure, for the hardware, which we're dealing with, because it's also expensive, very, very efficient hardware, and you also have to make sure that you configure it correctly so you can actually use the entire hardware that you're getting. So definitely getting to know vLLM, getting to know how to configure it correctly, so that the models are sharded between GPUs, because also we're using a multi-GPU setup here with NVIDIA H100 GPUs. So definitely the configuration of the inference backend, but then another problem I would say which we had was also dealing with scaling the solution to also support many users and making sure they can authorize correctly, because vLLM is just an inference backend. It doesn't support API keys, it doesn't support authorization, it doesn't support rate limiting. So then it was also the case of choosing the correct API gateway for the project. And yeah, I don't know if I'm going maybe too fast on the technical stack here, but we chose LiteLLM, and this is the API gateway which we're using. I also think it's a very good solution right now, and it integrates with vLLM very nicely and exposes an OpenAI compatible API. So yeah.
I would like to add something because about the tech stack, because when you come up with vLLM, I just started reading again, see what is this, what you say, and is it a common approach, and what are they doing there? So everything fine. And during this time, I was on a fair, on the Cloud Fest, which is a big fair with many cloud providers. And I went into the big hall, and the first thing was somebody talking about AI and having the vLLM. So I thought, okay, we are not the only ones. This is helping. And I went through all these people, and all of them said, yes, that's a good stack. So I really feel very confident about the overall thing. And there's something I want to add about the focus. Security, as you said, LiteLLM and all that stuff is really important for us, because it would be a really big failure if you have a problem there. So I think we also put a lot of effort into this. It's not the easiest way, because we have a lot of layers around and that, but really having a secure solution so the customer can trust on us that the data are in a safe haven with us. So that's really important for.
I'm not surprised that you read all information about technology when Adam told you what to use, you know. So yeah, okay. So if you talk about you know, like technical challenges and generally the project was fair, it's very different. And Maja, from your side, what is the most often needed from Adam? I mean, like, you know, the project is running, so it's like rather some configuring things, or rather you know, some advice that you need from Adam. What is now the most needed from Adam's side?
I think definitely there's some configuring things, because we have different needs of customers. We didn't thought about that before. I even didn't know that this is existing, but Adam always is very confident and can solve it. That's very nice. And the other thing is to really get knowledge about what is really the new technology, because technology is changing very fast. Already choosing the right model is the first thing, because we don't have a big AI cluster where we put on all the different OpenAI and Claude and, no, not Claude, but all these Mistral and whatever these open source models are. So we can't just offer everything, and the customer has to decide. We want to say, this is the best model for this usage, and this is what we are offering. And that's something where I struggled a little bit at the beginning because I saw everybody else does it the other way around. But at the end, our customers are very happy with this approach because they follow the advice we are giving, and at the end, it's the advice Adam is giving to really have a know-how about the market. What are the needs of the market, and which of the different solutions we have really provides a solution for these problems outside there. So that's really the most interesting thing about that.
Yeah.
I would maybe add something
Yeah, of
to
course.
this. I would say that a very important part of the whole project is the fact that it's like always evolving, because we're talking about LLMs, we're talking about Gen AI, and this is something that changes, like I would say every week. Like every week we see major releases from the major labs, either American or Chinese, sometimes European, who release new LLMs, and it's very important to just stay on top of every piece of news to make sure we're serving the best models available on the infrastructure. So there was, for example, one event where we had to update the project because a new model came out. It was actually the model from OpenAI, the GPT OSS 120B model, which in benchmarks and also during our internal testing was proving very good. We got very good results from the model, especially using German language, because this is also really important here in this project. So we figured it might be really important to add this new model to our infrastructure to make sure we're always serving the best infrastructure possible to our clients. So I think the main need here will be to just always make sure the best models are being served so the customers really get the best service possible.
And so, how, out of curiosity, how often such a new models are released? How often do you need to stay, on up to date?
I would say that major new models probably get like released from the big hyperscaler labs. So let's say like Google, OpenAI, Anthropic. I would say every quarter we see a new generation of models from them. And I would say this is maybe the frequency with which we also have to operate in this project. But if you're talking about how often, like generally LLMs come out, and you also factor in smaller companies and also you factor in Chinese companies, then I would say every week you can have a new model on the arena, just getting new benchmark scores. We just had a Chinese, I think it was Kimi K2 that just came out very recently. And we have Gemini 3 coming out this week, probably, maybe even today, as I saw on Polymarket. So we're probably going to have a very good model, just maybe even today, when it's later in the US. So yeah, it's very important to stay on top. But of course, here we're dealing with an on-premise LLM deployment. So we're not using the LLMs from hyperscalers, from American companies. We're using the models that are open source. So of course, we're very glad that OpenAI released the GPT OSS model because it's very good. But yeah, we can't have models, for example, from Anthropic or Google here on our infrastructure.
Okay, so what are the next steps? I mean, like, is there any plan to do something more bigger scale, or what are the plans for SpaceNet right now to serve customers?
I think currently it's really helping our customers using this platform. So there are smaller customers who just integrate it into their Nextcloud application where it's quite easy. You just need the API key and then can start on analyzing your documents using the API there. So that's something we are working on. We also have a bigger thing about integrating into workflow systems. That's also currently on the Windmill system. I don't know, Adam, if you know that. It's an automation platform where we did already first tests and integrated there. And we also have customers who are interested in RAG architecture. I have to use the English word. And people are asking quite a lot and they are testing. And it's growing, the demand in this area. And there again, the first row of questions we can solve by ourselves and answer the questions to the customers. And as soon it goes more into detail, we go back to and ask Adam how to solve these things. Yeah.
So, if you were to create another LLM infrastructure to another client, would you do something differently?
I would say I would definitely have to start my research all over again because we started the project. It was a few months ago, and I think something may have changed. Probably the fundamentals in the stack are still the same, but also what's really important is doing research what technologies to use for the given hardware that you're dealing with.
Okay.
And here we have the hardware we're currently using, but if it was a new project, if we were dealing with new hardware, of course, we have to take a look again what kind of solutions to use. And also it's very important to do research what models to host based on what use cases we'll be serving. Because here we were actually serving German customers mostly. So we also picked out models which work really well with the German language. If we're hosting models for, let's say, Polish, and it's a whole new area because Polish is, I would say, more niche language, and also the model choice is different than for the German language.
Would you like to do more projects of such?
Of course, but I would say they're very expensive because you have to have very expensive servers to do it. So
Okay.
yes, but of course I would love to do it.
Okay. Maja, summing up the cooperation in general, how was the cooperation with SOFTIQ, and would you recommend us, as a tech partner for other businesses?
That's an easy question. Definitely, yes, I would recommend SOFTIQ as a solution partner for developing AI solutions. And I not only would do it, I do it because I recommend you to our customers. And I think besides of the quality of works, as I started, it's also nice to work together because I think that's also an important thing, that it makes fun to work together, and that because this is a basis for really good results. Yeah.
Okay, super. Thank you, Maja. Thank you, Adam, for
Thank
today.
you.
Yes, and yes, let's wait for more interesting, fascinating, and making your business grow projects. Thank you very much for today.